All right, let's chat. So I got a couple of thoughts today, and one of them is identity. One of them talks about identity, the other one talks about purpose, and the last one talking about excellence. But go from, I can't just go straight into excellence because there's levels and there's things that we got to do in order for us to get there. Okay, so first thing is identity. So one of my mentors, pastors, and you know, just seeing him transform and really do his thing. He was a business coach. He did all that stuff. He helped businesses grow, and now he changes stuff to identity architect. So that got me thinking. If he's able to change his identity to do something else, and eventually shape himself to be an identity architect. I mean, it's about finding his own identity at this time and during this whole thing, and then he became the person that helping other people finding identity, right? And that's amazing. That's great. But the lesson here is, for me at least, right? The lesson here is we can keep going, and that doesn't mean like that's the thing we need to stick with. Mission of human excellence is a work in progress, constant work. Mission human excellence doesn't stop when we get to a certain level. Doesn't mean I posted in there the other day, posted in the community the other day that Mission Human Excellence, at the essence of it, is a business coaching program because your business grow as you grow, and as we grow together, we're gonna either have better careers, better business, better side hustles, and just a better life in general. But that doesn't come without knowing our identity. I'm doing a lot right now. I'm trying to figure out my identity, who I am. One of the biggest things I'm trying to learn is storytelling, right? So in storytelling, here's what I suck at. Sometimes I just suck at the simple things, right? Storytelling, there's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end. In the beginning, you get caught with the attention. Think movies. Movies are great storytelling stuff. Like the movies that win awards and all that stuff, right? The best pictures, they're great storytelling. They might not be the movie that you like, but they're just great storytelling. So what happens is it has a beginning, it hooks you in, it catches your attention, and then it moves to the middle part, which is, well, keep your attention. There's dramas, there's ups and there's downs, there's all kinds of things to keep your attention. And then it moves to an end where typically it's unexpected. All good movies, either have unexpected endings or they have endings that are just unbelievable, right? Like, there's no way that happened type of ending. And in storytelling, we gotta have all three. We gotta have the beginning, we gotta have the middle, we gotta have the end. Why am I telling you this about identity? So my identity comes from all these online podcasts and all that stuff, putting my name out there and really, really putting out content that might work, might not. Who knows? At the end of the day, I know this is gonna be a long-term thing. Like Mission Human Excellence is gonna be like, let's make 100 grand in 90 days. Like, yes, that is cool, that is good, but that's not what Mission Human Excellence is about. Mission Human Excellence is about tuning up your life first before tuning up your business. This is why I put out these type of content for you, so you can tune up your life. And your business will grow as you go, as you grow. So how do you tune up your life? The first thing you gotta have is understand who you are. Like, one, that's self-awareness. If you have self-awareness of the things that you're good at and you're not good at, then you can 10x on the things that you're good at, that you're great at. Keep getting good at it, and eventually make a profit from doing the things that you're good at, so you can hire somebody to do the things that you're not good at. Here's what I'm good at. I'm self-aware enough to know I'm good at creating. I'm really good at making things. I'm really good at thinking. I'm really good at innovation, whether it's information business, whether it's making. I've been thinking about making a hand cream for myself, just because my hand's so dry and nothing works, and making like hand scrubs so I can just rub all these dry and dead skin off my hands. I can create all that stuff. That's easy for me. And then what? I gotta find somebody to sell it. Because right now I'm learning about selling. I'm not good at selling these type of stuff. One, I don't feel like information like this, it's already readily available, right? Information like this should be readily available, should be everywhere online. But my thing is, we don't need to pay for these things. We only need to pay for the person's time and what the person did for us. So yes, there's gonna be content like this that's online. There's gonna be content that's more specific and exclusive, and we talk about deeper things at other places, right? This is understanding myself, understanding my identity, how I think are some of my strong suits or some not so strong suits, right? But at the very least, understanding who your identity is, like where, um, excuse me, understanding your identity is going to take you from lost in life, knowing what the next steps are in life. Say when I was younger, when I was like young and depressed, I'm gonna just start using that. When I was young and depressed, I didn't know who I'm gonna be. I was chasing after an engineering degree that I don't want to chase anymore. End up taking up a sociology minor, thinking about how I can continue to learn about myself and other people and learn more about other people as I go through this thing called engineering school. And I was depressed. I opened up to one of my professors and I was just straight up depressed. This is one of my ways to just learn about these things. This how to be present, how to live in the moment, how to live in this place, and that's carried me for a bit, right? This is before I understand what Christ did for us, what Christ say about our identity. At that time when I was young and depressed, right? At that time when I was there, I don't know what my next step would have been, and I never really thought about it. The reason why I never thought about it is because my parents just honed in on me on, hey, go to school, finish a degree, and then you'll be okay. Well, I might have been okay if it was 1970s. If I go to school, get a degree, and I might be okay, and find a job afterwards anywhere, I'll be all right. But it's not 1970s anymore. It's 2017 when I graduated, and that was the worst day of my life because I had no idea what's happening next, and I fulfilled everything I thought was my purpose. This is why identity comes with purpose. I wasn't living for myself, I was living for my parents. My identity was my parents tell me to do A, B, C, and D, to be A, B, C, and D, to be, to graduate college, and I did that, and that was my whole entire purpose, and now I don't know who I am. A lot of professional athletes, they plant their identity into being a professional athlete, and when they finish their whole career, they're lost. They lost their sole purpose. So your identity can't be something that's temporary. Your identity's got to be something eternal, something that's gonna last this lifetime and the rest of the eternity. I didn't know what that was when I was younger. And as I go, like, I'm still searching for my identity, but at least now I know. Now I know that the identity needs to be planted inside the kingdom, which means doing whatever I can to help people, doing whatever I can to help God's people. That is an identity. Oh gosh, that is the identity for everybody who's starting a kingdom business. You got it. The identity is Your identity is helping other people. If you want to get a better relationship with God, get a better relationship with the right people. If you want to serve the kingdom, serve His people. I'm not saying that's your sole identity, but that's part of it, right? The other part is understanding who you are, your self-awareness, what your gifts are, what God has blessed you with that you can use to continue to build the business of life, the relationships that you want to build. One of the things that got me is a giant heart. I can be very cognitively empathetic. If you tell me your situation, I know how you feel. If you feel a certain way, I can tell you what triggered it. My brain to your heart connection is pretty strong, right? I can understand how you feel, but understanding how you feel also means the downside of that. right? The downside of that is you tell me your day, I know exactly how you feel, and I start feeling it. Or if you tell me about your day, I feel what you feel, and I want to like grab you and shake you up and take you out of what you're feeling. And that's you typically that doesn't work, right? You can't give somebody you can only lead a horse to the water. You can't make it drink. So that's another part of my identity. I'm discovering as I go, right? So what is your identity as you discover? What is your identity right now as you discovering it? Asking questions to make you think, right? So that's first part. That's identity. The second part, from identity, you move into purpose. That's what my coaching program is about. All the free stuff that I'm putting together right now is about finding your identity and aligning your life to your identity. And the next part is going to be purpose. So here's my coaching program that I have in my mind put together, and I'm about to put it out in the world. Mission Human Excellence consists of the base is your identity part, which is the Mission Human Excellence course, which means it's going to help you identify who you are. It's going to help you get there. And as you get there, you're going to set habits that is going to be beneficial for building a life on excellence. I think that card says Ephesians 6:12. Make a note. Look at that later. So that's the basic course. It's for you to find your identity, find your identity, find your habits to build on excellence. So that's the base. That's the base course. Like we're building a building right now, and that's the foundation. Like we the foundation can be built without digging deep, right? So this whole course, I'm giving everybody access to this, whoever wants to come in. It is going to be the most difficult courses out of all of them. And I'm giving for free, and honestly, like if you can dive this deep into yourself and really build a firm foundation, all the other courses are going to be easy. All the other things that you want to do is easy. Everything else that you really want to, well, everything else really becomes easier once you have your firm foundation. Okay, so that's number one. And then we move on to the purpose part. The second program is purpose. How to use that purpose to maybe make a profit out of it. God gave us a purpose, and God also gave us profits. Profits with a PH and profits with an F. Making money is a spiritual exercise. Having a purpose is a very spiritual exercise too. So understanding what your purpose is. For example, Rabbi Daniel Laban, he talks about purpose, and he has many good books, right? The best one right now that I'm listening to is the success secret from the Bible, and he talks about how everybody who has back in the day, I can only imagine this. We can only imagine this because we don't know how it exactly happened. But back in the day, if everybody lives in a village, back in the day when there's no internet, you gotta go get your own water and all that stuff. Everybody lives in a village. Everybody get their own waters. Everybody has their own sheep, making their own wools and all that stuff. Everything on your own, right? Grow your own farm, do all that stuff. And then one of them show up with like real nicely done wools, but their potatoes or their farmland is kind of mediocre. Another one of the villagers show up. The clothing is debatable, okay? But man, those farms look nice, nice. You know what I mean? So one of them is really good at putting the clothes together, and the other one's really good at putting the farm together. So they come together and be like, hey, what if I just make your clothes, and in exchange, we build you give me some of the crops that you got. So this way you look nice. This way you look nice. You look great. And I get some good food for my family. Your family look great. I get some good food. Perfect. Cool. Let's do that exchange. How do we measure that exchange? Well, I don't know. How about we create this thing called a currency? Let's call it a dollar. You know, I'll this thing for you to look good. This shirt for you to look good is $10 for you. In exchange, you can use that $10 to buy some of my crops. Maybe right now you only need $7 worth of my crops. But if you have another kid, you might use 15. You never know, right? You got family coming over, you need some extra, you might spend 20. And that's how exchanges started happening. And then a third person come in. I mean, this guy's cool. right? This guy's got a hat. This guy's got a straw hat, and it looked cool. And in hot weathers, it kept him from overheating, all that stuff. So the third person come in and be like, hey, the two other villagers are like, hey, your straw hat looks nice. How do you do it? Like, this is how I do it. You want to try it yourself? They're like, no, I want you to make it so we can get it from you. So the straw hat maker is like, all right, cool, I'll make you straw hats. But can you give me some of your crops and can you give me a shirt? Great. Exchange happened. And with that, the villagers started finding the purpose of being inside that village. One person is the shirt maker, the other one is just the one feeding everybody, and the third one is the one that supply all the hats. So that story just told me that purpose and profits can't be separated in some way. Yes, some people's purpose is being a pastor. Yes, I get that. But being a pastor also comes with being making a profit. Being a pastor, speaking, doing all that stuff, also come with a price tag. They can't do it for free. Missionaries, if missionaries can do it for free, then they wouldn't ask for money. They still got to feed themselves. They still got to feed their family. They still got to feed the people that they're helping. Take profit out of this. Yes, you can have a purpose. Right? Purpose is important. I'm not saying purpose is not important. Purpose is very important. Understanding your purpose and using your purpose somehow create a revenue, a system, and a stream to use your purpose and create a profit from it. That's probably the best way for you to build a business. But how do you find a purpose? You do pray to God and just sit there and listen, be like, this is my purpose. I'm sure somebody in the church community and somebody in the Christian community is going to tell you to pray and listen. I'm going to tell you the same thing. Yes, you're going to pray and listen. But here's the difference. Here's one thing that'll be different from what the church people are typically telling you. You pray, you listen, but you also gotta do. You gotta do. You gotta obey. For you pray, you listen. God doesn't give you what your purpose is. God is gonna give you instructions for you to figure out what your purpose is. God doesn't tell you what purpose is. God's gonna tell you the step-by-step method for you to understand your purpose. Stop listening to all these gurus and start listening to God, please. And after you get your purpose, you're gonna start really understand what excellence is. So that move on to number 3, which is the excellence part. And the excellence doesn't come from you living life just floating through life. Excellence comes from understanding your identity. Number 1, understanding who you are, understanding who God created you to be. Number 2, understanding God's assignment for you so you can use that assignment, keep going, to do the work that you're assigned to do. 3, and last part, excellence that's where happiness, that's where fulfillment, all that stuff comes in. Yes, you gotta get your identity, get your identity figured out, right? That's who God called you to be. Get your purpose figured out, is what God called you to do, and then you can get the fruits of excellence. And it's gonna look many different ways. God's called me to do this. God also called me to stay at my full-time position because it's teaching me. I mean, the longer I stay, the more obvious it becomes because it's teaching me about business. While running other people's business, it's teaching me about business, right? Well, fulfilling other people's needs in their business is teaching me how to be a good employer. Be a good employee first, and then be a good employer, and then eventually, yeah, I'm gonna lead the team. There's room for mistakes without me losing the livelihood of my family. The fruits are gonna come after you identify who God called you to be, what God's assignment for you is, and you can experience the fruit afterwards. And that is what excellence comes. That is what excellence is all about, right? Yes, you can, go out there and make a business, make it work, and do all that stuff, and then come back and figure out your identity and figure out your purpose. Many people do that. A lot of professional athletes, when they turn pro at 18, they don't know much. Like, think back when you're 18-year-old, they're the same thing. They're just 18-year-olds that has, some godly gifts that they're exploring. Well, you got to be disciplined and all that stuff, but that's a separate topic. And then they hit a life of excellence without understanding what their purpose is, besides being a pro athlete or besides being like a businessman, besides being doing the things that they do, right? Or understanding their identity that is not based on what this world provides, but based on what God has provided for us. Many things, right? But those professional athletes who don't have their identity and don't have their purpose figured out. I mean, look at Allen Iverson is a good example. He took all of his money and years of his time to figure out, hey, this is I don't know what to do afterwards. I spent all my money, right? He spent all his money. He doesn't really understand what he needs to do. Now he's coming back out, into the public and be like talking about different things, building businesses. His whole entire life was based on, let me go be a professional basketball player. And he became broke and broken, and now he's looking for new purpose. He might have found his new purpose, but you know, his identity, his purpose, he might have found it already. But a few years ago, when when news first broke out, he's like, millions of dollars, and now he's worth nothing. It just, it's the way it is. If you don't have your identity figured out, if you don't have your purpose figured out, if you don't know what God created you to be, who God created you to be, right? What God created you to do, excellence is temporary. A lot of things are temporary. Everything is spiritual. So if you're not focused on eternity, everything is temporary. So I hope this brings you value. Make sure you figure out your identity, and then you figure out the purpose so you can experience excellence. Excellence is different in many levels. Excellence for me right now is finding a set time and schedule so I can spend time, working, building this business, and still being able to experience my family, loving my wife, loving my kid, and really go out there and know what it is that we get to do for us to be a better husband, be a better father, and be a better businessman. Identity, purpose, excellence. Do those things in order, and you see how you can experience excellence on a whole different level. So thank you for listening. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like, comment, subscribe, and let's hear from you, man. So, till next time, I'll see you later. Love you. Bye.